Okay. The reason we put it here is, hey, we're getting close to the end of the new stuff. At spring break, we're done with new stuff, and we shift toward reviewing. But we'll talk about it here because motion is almost always, never say always, but almost always, one of the free response questions on the AP test. And one of 6. And so, let's see how to phrase this. And the free response question is weighted to be half, like multiple choice and free response are equally weighted. So motion is 1/6 of the free response, which is half of the overall test. So 1/12 of the test, 8% or so, 8% of the test is going to be a motion free response question, most likely. Although, so each free response question is worth 8% of the test, but the motion ones are usually ones you can get all of them. You can get all of the points. Most of the time, you can't get all the points. You're just trying to get 4, 5, or 6 of the points. But for the motion one, you can get all the points, usually. And that's why we hit it so hard, is because it's almost always tested. Okay, breakdown of the test. It's in 4 sections. Part 1, 30, multiple choice without calculator. By the way, so that means 2 minutes per question if you don't have a calculator. If you do have a calculator, section 2, 45 minutes for 15 questions. So they give you a little bit more time when you have a calculator, because they understand you're pushing buttons and your second calc and you're scrolling and you're writing down decimals, and so they get that takes a little bit longer. Then comes a break, and then you get 6 free response questions, 2 with a calculator, 4 without a calculator. And it's, how to explain this? After 30 minutes, you put your calculator away and you open up section B. You can still go back and work on section A, you just don't have a calculator to do it. So if you left something like some justify part, or there's some other piece that you wanted to comment on, you can go back and do it, you just don't have your calculator to do it. So you make sure you get all your calculator stuff done in 30 minutes, and if you need to go back and tweak something, you can, you just won't have a calculator to do it. Obviously these are 15 minutes per question. Scoring. Each multiple choice question is worth 1.2, which seems weird. The reason they do that is they've rigged it so that the multiple choice and the free response are both worth half the test. So they make multiple choice 1.2 each, that way it balances out. There's no penalty for guessing, so even if you have no idea what's going on, there's words you don't know, there's pictures you don't know, put something down. Maybe you get lucky. Multiple choice is worth a total of 54 points. Again, they're going to make a match, 54 and 54. Each free response question is worth a total of 9 points. And each part is worth a predetermined amount, determined by the chief reader and the committee. You don't have to worry about that. They don't tell you what each part is worth, although after you've worked a bunch of them, you start to get a feel for, that's probably worth 1, that's probably worth 2. But that doesn't really matter. You try to get all the points you can get. And then all points are added to get a composite score. So that's a 108 would be the max. Usually there's 1 or 2 kids per year who make the 108, like across the nation. So if you're aiming for a 108, go for it, knock yourself out. It's just not very likely. And they don't ever tell you your exact score unless you make the 108. If you make the 108, they go ahead and be like, hey, nice work. You hit a perfect score. Other than that, all you get is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The conversion is different every year, and so you can see Miss Murray attached I don't know if those are the 3 most recent years we have available, but you can see it's kind of close. Like, just look at the 3 range: 43 to 55, 41 to 53, 44 to 58, and so it's somewhere in there. Roughly, you need a 40% to get a 3, 53% for a 4, 63% for a 5. I'm telling you, I want most of you guys to be aiming for a 4. You get half of them right, plus a little bit, you can get a 4. You guys can get a 4. Some of you can get a 5. You have a good day, and there's only 6 free response questions. So if you kind of get lucky and they give you something, you're like, man, I know this one, and you max out 1 or 2 free response questions, then maybe you get your 5. Maybe you have an off day and things don't go well. That's when you get a 3. So you aim for a 4. Good day, you make a 5. Bad day, you make a 3. But you're good regardless. Global scoring distributions, you don't really need to see all of that. Generally speaking, about, 44, 49, 41. So mid-40s don't pass the thing, which means mid-50s do pass the thing. But this is global, so that's not, I don't even know how does that help us? We're not global. You're students at Kingwood High School, so we're not worried about what everybody else is doing. For this. Okay, so that's a little background on free response and what the AP test looks like. We'll talk more about it once we get into spring break, or after spring break. We'll do tons of free response questions, tons of more multiple choice, although most of the multiple choice questions you've seen on tests this year have been AP test questions, so you're familiar with what they look like. You're going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. Especially after we do a review, you're going to be good.